What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to what's going to be my last video of 2020.
This is it.
That's all she wrote for this year, and I think we're pretty much all happy to start the new year. But on a positive note, I wanted to kind of talk about some of the lessons and things that Jason and I have both learned from this past year. And I know we've all gone through a ton of stuff. Like, I feel like everyone has their own 2020 story, but I also think it's kind of cool to reflect and take some positives even from any of the negatives that have occurred if you're able to do so.
2020 has been awesome. What are you talking about? 2021 ain't going to be much different, guys.
I don't think so either.
It is not going to be much different.
Yeah, and I know, like, this video isn't to brag or anything like that. Everyone's had kind of a different hand handed to them this year, and everyone's got their own story. So ours is a little bit different, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of go through, talk about some of the things that we learned, share it with you guys.
Like we said, 2021 is not going to be much different, so you have to start to learn to be able to take the positives away.
You do, regardless of the bad. You got to find a positive. There's always a positive spin to find on things.
Because there's going to probably be lockdowns. There's going to be more stores shutting down. There's going to be, it's a change.
Right, it's going to be changes for everyone. Before we hop right into the video, though, I want you guys to comment down below one thing you took away from this year. Maybe something bad happened, but you were able to take something positive away from it. So I want you to comment down below one thing. I know all of you can do that. You can take one positive thing away from 2020. So comment that below for all the community to see. I want to go through and kind of see what you guys took out of this past year. Also, make sure you do all the things.
Subscribe. Ring the ding-a-lings.
Ring the ding-a-lings. We can say that because Jason's on the channel with us today. And that's going to let you know each and every time that I upload. We are coming into a new year, and I always kind of get a little bit like juiced up, jazzed up, if you will, to kind of do more like nutrition, helpful content, educational videos for you guys, just because everyone's always striving for them goals at the beginning of the new year. So I like to help kind of provide my service and help you guys through that as well. So one of the things that 2020 definitely taught me was a ton of flexibility to have with myself in a number of different ways, but in particular with fitness, since this is a fitness nutrition channel for the most part. 2020 was definitely a year to learn about flexibility.
Yeah, I got kind of freaked out at first. I'm like, what? Gyms are closed?
I know.
Like, my whole routine's thrown off.
I've been a gym rat since I was 15 years old. Like, I've always been in a gym environment. So that's just kind of like a second home for me, if you will. It's where I, it's like a therapy almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you go there and it's your time. You don't have to be on your phone. You don't have to be bothered at work. And then it's just like, poof, taken away. It's
gone, stripped away from you. But, we were fortunate in that we were able to get our hands on some equipment at the beginning of it.
No.
Actually, yeah, we were all on bands.
It was months. It wasn't until
that gym closed.
Until May we got equipment downstairs. All we had was dumbbells and bands. True that. So February, March, we worked out for 4 months with just a pair of Bowflex dumbbells and bands. And that was a huge, adaptation.
And I don't think that booty looks that bad. Booty hung in. I have to say, though, in terms of being flexible, I always think back to the way I once was. Probably, I say in my 20s, but maybe even early 30s, where I just, I had to be in the gym. I had to do X amount of cardio. I had to... it was just so regimented, which can be good, but it was also too extreme where if I didn't have those things, I just felt terrible.
Can I interject? I don't think that's a bad thing, because if you weren't extreme regimented in your early 30s when you started learning fitness, when you're doing that, you're basically creating discipline in yourself.
Right.
It's like 7 o'clock, I got to be at the gym. I have to do X amount of sets. I have to eat this food. Mm-hmm. Now, after you've been working out for like that for X amount of years, for years and years and years, you can kind of stray away from that and still be disciplined. Right. Now, I feel like if you didn't have that discipline at first, and it's this time, it's like years later, you're not going to be able to hang on to that, okay, I got to go to the gym even if it's not the right time, or I'm just going to forget it today because you built that discipline. So I think that's a good thing almost.
No, I do too. I don't think it's a bad thing. I guess more so I'm thinking about myself personally. You've never been like this, but there was a point in time where I depended on being motivated by others and like the wrong sources of motivation to get fit. Like
group classes and stuff?
Group classes, I had to be there. I was motivated by other people and would get motivated in that environment because I'm super competitive. So that's where like I get very motivated by it. Now, I've never been someone that was like solely reliant on group classes, but a lot of people that are, I feel like could have very much struggled in 2020 because all of a sudden you don't have that option anymore. You have to know what to do yourself or figure it out, or you don't do anything at all and you
Which
let
a lot of people did.
2020 take over.
Yep.
You know, so I'm definitely like, I'm happy with where I'm at for a reason. It kind of like put into perspective all the seasons of life I've gone throughout my own fitness journey, you know, throughout being like a over cardio person, group class person, to just being able to do my own thing. And it's interesting because when I was doing group classes, if you remember, I purposely pulled myself out of that environment. I joined a different gym and I started doing a different strength training program on my own because remember me telling you, I'm like, I don't want to be dependent on that. I don't want to have to need that. And so all those kind of things got me to where I am today. But, you know, being in that environment where you have no gym, you still have options. So I had the option to just not do anything or...
Because we had no equipment.
Right, or make the most out of it. So I like signed up for Les Mills on-demand classes, did some of those.
Bowflex dumbbells and just used bands and made it work.
We just
until we were able to get a squat rack or a power rack, and we got some weights and stuff. So now we can essentially do everything we want in the basement. It still doesn't substitute the gym. Just the environment, and then obviously you have like a leg press in the gym and just different, like so many different machines and stuff like that to use. But we can get what we need to done here, which is good.
Right.
You know?
And along with that flexibility, so I'm proud that I was able to kind of be flexible with what I was doing for workouts. Sometimes I'd work out 3 times a week. Sometimes it was still 5 times a week. I was flexible with it. Along with that, I also wasn't like shaming myself. Like I wasn't scared about my body changing from 2020. I feel like I got that vibe from a lot of people who weren't in their normal routine. They were freaked out.
You see the memes, 2019 body, 2020 quarantine body. It's
and like
people just use it as an excuse, I feel like almost so. It's like, I'm just going to be lazy and eat chips all day.
Yeah. And I mean, for some people though, 2020 just wasn't your year for it. And that's fine too. You know, for me personally, I just feel like I'm proud of the fact that I'm in a place now that I wouldn't have been 10 years ago, where I didn't need the gym to work out and I didn't need the gym to kind of control my body in a way, if you will. Like I pretty much maintained my fitness this year. Did I lose a little muscle? Maybe. I mean, did my body change a little bit? Maybe, but not noticeably. Like I don't know. I felt pretty good about what I was working with all year.
Yeah, you did good all year.
And I'm proud of myself because honestly, if it would have been 10 years ago, I wouldn't have felt like this. I would have been very panicked. I would have been
anxiety all the time.
Yeah, I would have very much so been living in my head about my body versus just like living my life. So I've changed a lot in that regard, but 2020 kind of reinforced that with me, with that healthier relationship that I have with my body, my fitness routine, and my eating habits. So that was a definite win. Although I'm so thrilled gyms are open now.
I know.
I love the gym. So
for now.
Happy for that. So 2020 definitely taught me a lot of gratitude. Like I feel like I'm a grateful person, and I'm always someone that tries to acknowledge what I have and kind of like live in that reality.
I feel like we've always done it. Like always. Like I'm always so grateful for like everything.
The little things.
Like, oh my God, like MTS sent us this and Buff Bunny sent care of that, and like obviously they don't hear it, but it's like, wow, this is so awesome. They sent us this stuff. It's amazing. But 2020 just even more so reinforced, like, not just that, but just like everything that we have. Everything. Like, you know, grateful to have a house, grateful to have a job, grateful that you guys are watching us, grateful that people watch my channel. You know?
Definitely like made it kind of even further validated, like the things that you have to really like what's really important and to really focus on those things, you know? Like I can complain about my job like anyone else can, but 2020 was a year for me personally. Jason and I, in terms of our jobs, weren't impacted negatively. I mean, I had a lot more work added to my plate, to be honest, but you know, at the same time, like we were both working throughout this entire year. We were very fortunate that our normal business wasn't impacted whatsoever. And then it also made me kind of grateful too, thinking about, okay, what if we weren't in these jobs? How would we be impacted, and how would we adapt? How would we pivot and handle this, as some people are being tasked to do? And Jason and I are fortunate, and at the same time, I think hardworking, that we've set up multiple streams of income for ourselves too. You know, again,
if you lose one,
not bragging, but just saying, like, that's something we've always thought about is
you can't rely on one source of income,
right.
or two. Like, you should each have multiple streams of revenue coming in.
Right.
Because YouTube could go away tomorrow. YouTube could just cut this channel. They could cut my channel, but we still have our jobs. Or the state could close you down.
Correct.
Or the state could close Tiger down.
There's not a lot of job security anymore. Like, I felt
not.
like growing up, I felt like, oh, there's job security. And there wasn't. Like, my dad went through layoffs. Like, my mom went through the same stuff. Like, there's nothing secure. And even though I work for like a state job, people feel like those are the most secure. You just never know when there's a state budget deficit who's going to be shut down. Yep. Money has to be recouped somehow. So always trying to keep that perspective and kind of be willing to adapt. I hear it a lot. This isn't judgment, but I hear it from people I work with, like, who are miserable, maybe, that I work with, but they're like, well, I've only got X amount of years left, so it's like I got to stick it out. And I'm just not of that mindset. Like, no, you always have an option. And I always...
Because then you can also say you only have X amount of years of your life left.
Correct.
Do you want to be wasting those X amount of years if you're 50 and have 24 years left?
Right.
30 years left? I mean, what's the average age? Like mid-70s?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's like you don't want to waste that time.
And no day's guaranteed. Like, I'm just never gonna like live in that mindset that like I'm guaranteed to be here until I retire. Like, I hope so. I really, really do. I hope I live a nice long life. I hope we both do. But I also don't want to like live for that type of mindset. So I always want to be set up in a way that we have other things that we could do if we needed to. So I guess that 2020 kind of solidified that for me.
I feel like you've been more confident in yourself with that aspect of things this year.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure. Like, just feeling comfortable that like
you can do it.
I can. Like, if something were to happen, we're like, okay, we have to lay people off, or we have to shut down the hospital and like move all these patients elsewhere, I'd be like, all right, this is my sign that this is my time to do other things. Like, that's just what's meant to be, is kind of how I would take it. I think in 2020, it made everyone kind of reevaluate their finances and their debt.
And what was it? September 2017, I saw how much we paid in interest in the year before in the house. She always handled like
the mortgage.
She would always make the payment.
Yeah.
So I never really looked at it. And I'm like...
We were like getting nowhere.
We were getting absolutely nowhere. We still owed over $200 in the house. Yeah. And we lived there 7 years. Yeah. We bought it for like $235.
We're like...
I'm like,
what? So where's it going?
It was our mission to pay off the house, which we're almost done. And 2020 really made me realize, at least for us personally, like, let's not have any debt. Let's own all of our stuff. That way, if we lose our jobs and we own the house, we could work at Walmart and still afford life.
Yeah, we still have a
and I'm
roof
not trashing anybody that works at Walmart. I'm just saying you could have a lower paying job and still we can eat, we can feed the dog, we can still have fun.
Yeah.
So we've just really been trying to pay off the debt.
Right.
You know, that was like 2020 is a big eye opener in that.
Very much so. Like,
because of security. It's like, okay, well, at least if you own your house, nobody can take it.
We should all be reevaluating our finances right now, for sure, because of that. And things aren't going to change overnight. The economy is not going to change overnight.
Nope.
It's going to be a long
Yes.
Long process. And especially for us, like we live in New York State. New York State is probably like the worst state to live in. And now that like so many people are moving out of New York State for whatever reason, you know, with everything going on, a lot of people, there was like a new thing I saw online, like the amount of people
like California, nobody wants to live here. You have taxes.
No one wants to live here right now.
You have taxes and you have a governor who's just like, just
a lot of people are
everything.
like, I'm getting the heck out of here. Like, this was the final straw. So, like, we will be feeling the impact in New York State for a long time with the budget deficit, with how hard we were hit from the pandemic and the lack of, like, federal financial support. Like, we will feel the impact regardless. Like I said, jobs being cut, taxes being raised.
Yep.
Other things that are going to occur that do impact you. So this next one, I feel like, again, I've always had a good grasp on, but 2020 kind of confirmed that for me. And that was just kind of perspective on the bigger things in life. And those little luxuries that we're so fortunate to have.
Going to the movies, going to the gym.
Going to a store without having to wear a mask. Like, just so many little luxuries. Like, for me, I think of the girly things that I do that I spend money on because I can, and are they necessary? No, but I like getting my nails done. I like getting my hair did. For a while, I liked getting my eyelashes done. All that stuff that was like kind of taken away from us for a very long time. Facials, just the bougie kind of stuff like that. But in a way, self-care, if you will, that at least for us in New York State, they were gone for a long time. Like, we didn't have much of anything. Like Jason said, like, we couldn't go to the gym for like 6 months it was.
Let me see. February, March, April, May, June, July. 7 months. 7 months, no gym.
Yeah, so it's like all those like things that they truly are luxuries. They really are, but you know, they were all taken away. And in a way, it was kind of a good thing. I mean, yeah, I'm still sitting here with my nails did now because I also want to support people. That's my justification. And I like having nails. But can I live without them? Absolutely, yes. And we are still blessed. Like, I know a lot of people were just complaining about everything and like, oh, we're locked down and blah, blah, blah. And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm locked down in my house. We have cable still. We have internet. We have food. We have access to food. For a minute there, I was getting scared that like
yes, I was
there
worried
was
about
going to be no food and people were going to be like,
because there was hoarding,
going into your home to like steal things. Like, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be like The Walking Dead or something. That's what I'm like picturing at the beginning of all this. So at the end of the day, I just feel like we're still very fortunate. Like, I don't want another lockdown, but even despite that, the world we live in today, we have a lot of luxuries provided to us. So I hope a lot of us kind of took that away from this past year, that, you know, we have so many great things. Social media. We didn't have social media, this kind of platform, this digital ability to see our families, you know, to Zoom call with people, to
imagine if this was 20 years ago,
to work from
10
home.
years, even 10 years ago.
The amount of people that like, yes, people lost their jobs, but a lot of people's jobs and business models have changed because of the digital world and the ability for people to be at home and people to at least be able to see their family over a Zoom call or FaceTime or what have you. You wouldn't have had that 10, 20 years ago. You just would have been crap out of luck.
Yep.
So
Sitting home alone.
right. So we really still were blessed within all of this, if you really think about it.
You're blessed
that
by
way.
technology.
Yeah, we really are. So this sounds like kind of a negative thing, but in a way it's not. But I feel like this year taught me that I don't handle stress when it's stress towards me as well as I like to think I do. Like, I feel like I'm a very laid back person. I'm a realist. If bad things happen, okay, we deal with them, we work through it, moving on.
That happens to you?
Until it happens at me and it really impacts my life. And this year, like, we were really impacted, I guess still along the lines of financially, but more so like our businesses being in question. And August hit us with a nice IRS audit from 2018, basically wanting us to justify all of our business expenses, which Jason and I both have side businesses, in addition
with
to our
lots of
day
expenses, aka the light for the new background.
Yes. Cameras, mics, the works.
Light.
Yeah. So that hit us. I've never been through a tax audit before.
Still going through it. And like, it's been so stressful, and I did not handle any of it well, basically from August till now. A lot of anxiety, sleep issues, you betcha. But things have been learned from it in a positive way. I mean, I hope it's over soon, but a lot of positives have been learned from that scenario. And can I just interrupt? It was nothing we did wrong. It was just a random audit.
It was just a random audit. Which a lot of audits are happening because of the deficit to recoup costs.
Yes.
So, you know, you see a lot of, like, my parents have been tax audited before. They don't even have side businesses. It's just, it's part of life. It can happen, which is why you should always be prepared. And we were, but looking back on it, not as well as we could have been. So because of that reason, doing a tax audit from 2 years ago, for me to kind of put and package everything together was tough. And plus, I always put on Jason. He was the one that met with the tax auditor. I was never part of that process. But due to Jason's health, and we'll talk about that a little more too, but I was trying to kind of wrap this up for us for the tax audit.
My hands were off it.
So I was like, let me take this one on, baby. Let me take it for the team. And it was really challenging because number one, I was not there during the audit process. Number two, you're talking about 2 years ago worth of stuff, documentation to produce. So tons
not
of
my choice.
Yes.
Now another lesson learned. Maybe you should, next time be there for the audits or for the tax.
Oh, I definitely will. And there's a lot more that we can do up front and throughout the tax year as business owners to be ready so that if someone audits us, it's
much easier
it's
to
as
put
simple
together.
as like handing it over.
Much easier.
That was not the situation. We were more functioning like, if we get tax audited, can we produce everything? Yes. But do we have it all buttoned up and ready to go?
And organized?
No. So it was a effing nightmare, if you will. A nightmare that's ongoing. But yeah, lessons learned from it, but also, just kind of one more thing thrown at you in 2020 that was just like, son of a nutcracker. But, we'll deal with it and we'll learn the lessons from it. And that we have. And
I think you became more confident going through it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because you had to you literally had to handle everything.
Well, that and to have someone come back and be like, is this business even real? And kind of like literally act like they don't understand a social media business. Like, whoo, got me going. Like angry, like fire flames coming out of every part of my body that I won't even get into on here. But yeah, it angered me, but it also made me feel like, yeah, are you kidding me right now? Like, These are legit things that we do for the business, and you're not going to tell me otherwise.
Yes, I don't need a colored light in my life.
We have no need for this stuff, otherwise.
It's other for videos,
right,
and the Buff Bunny videos and the clothing hauls. It'll look nice.
Not used for anything else.
Yes, so.
Anyway, but in a lot of ways, lessons learned. It was just a big chunk of the year that was like felt like unnecessary stress, poor me kind of situation that, it was a wake up call for me in how I deal with stress when it's my own stress, when it's not me giving someone else advice.
And you're talking a lot of money.
Yes, a lot of money they want from us. Wanted.
Yes.
Hopefully don't want anymore. Yeah. Okay, and then the last one, because I wanted to keep it at 5 things, so, we're not here all day, but I would say the biggest thing that I've learned from 2020
is that my channel is amazing. Jason Corey on YouTube.
The #1 Cane Corso. Jason had a great year, honestly. Jason should do his own video, but he doesn't think
my audience don't care about that. They just want to see Bruce Wayne.
Jason had a fabulous year. Jason thrived this year, but Jason also had maybe one of the most emotionally challenging years of his life, which when you're in a marriage, it impacts both of you. Yes, emotionally and physically. And when you're in a marriage and you sign up through what is it? Through health and sickness? I don't know what the words are. Through sickness and health.
She doesn't even know that.
Through sickness and health. You sign up for all of it, and when someone's going through it, the other person is too. And we haven't really talked much about this on this channel, although Jason maybe in one video.
I have on my channel.
Mentioned a bit, but Jason's had some undiagnosed essentially health issues for 8+ years now.
12-ish?
We hadn't really figured out up until this year. So in a way, that's one of my biggest blessings of 2020 is that Jason finally got connected. Things got so bad with Jason that he decided he needed to push again to figure it out. You get frustrated.
So essentially for the last 12 years, it's been, I have a ton of symptoms. I'm not even going to go over them.
Yeah, we don't have time
it's
for
a
that.
3-page list of symptoms, and some are fairly devastating.
Yeah.
So it'd be one doctor telling me there's either nothing wrong with me, go see this doctor. I'd go see another doctor, another specialist, a neurologist or a rheumatologist, and they would either say, "Oh, I think you have MS," or "I think you have lupus," or "You're making up in your head, go see a psychiatrist."
Right.
Hearing that after year after year after year, you start believing you're making it up in your head.
Yeah. So you're like, all right, I guess I'm done.
I guess I'm crazy.
You literally exhausted all your options. Every doctor was just kind of I don't know at the end of it. So, this
basically
year.
I hit a breaking point.
He hit a breaking point.
I got so sick. I was so sick. And the doctor I found, I had to pay out of pocket, which is why I wasn't wanting to go.
Right.
Because it's
financially,
financially, I've spent since July probably $6,000
And we have really good insurance,
They
too.
won't. They don't really cover anything.
But they don't. And that's kind of what's annoying, too, because you're sitting here when we have great insurance through New York State, and it's like not even helpful for what's going on for him. Like, he had to go the route of a more holistic doctor that, you know.
So to rewind before we even get into what it is, if it wasn't for my channel doing so well, I've had a YouTube channel for a couple years now, but I never literally did anything with it. I just randomly posted. I'd post some funny videos, but that's it.
Yeah.
But I became really good friends with somebody in the UK, Will, and he's like, dude, you got to start putting out videos about your dog. You got to start putting videos about your dog. So I kind of started theming it. Well, I did theme it around Cane Corsos, and it did really well.
Right.
So because of Bruce Wayne, it affords me to be able to afford doctor care.
Yes.
So, yes.
Which is huge.
Yes.
And to feel comfortable affording that doctor care.
Yes.
But so you found a good doctor. Jason basically worked really hard to almost not self-diagnose himself, but like he was smart enough to know like he had to piece things together for his own body.
Because I knew it was like when the doctor told me before, I think you have MS. Like obviously it's going to scare you and really worry you.
That's really scary, yeah.
But I'm like, I know I don't have it.
Yeah.
But it's still in your head. It's like you start Googling it. It's like, well, I have that symptom. I have that symptom.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It turns out I have Lyme disease and mold toxicity, and a bunch of co-infections from Lyme disease. There was Bartonella infection, 2 types of pneumonia, which explains why I can't breathe half the time. And I had mono a long time ago when I was 21. And typically the EBV virus doesn't bother anyone, but it was highly active in me when she tested it, which also explained I went to urgent care in May. I'm like, I feel like I have mono. So they tested me for mono, they tested me for COVID, they tested me for flu, they tested me for strep. Like, you don't have anything.
Yes.
I'm like,
it doesn't make sense.
I'm like, I feel like I'm dying.
Right.
So it's like same story.
You were like feeling
you don't there's nothing wrong with
your
you.
body was shutting down on you basically.
Yes. So it turns out I have Lyme and all those infections. So a lot of antibiotics. Right now I'm taking a few days off of them, but I'm on 3 antibiotics, which make you feel like crap. Right. Basically, the treatment is really bad.
It makes you feel worse.
It makes you feel worse.
You even know if you're going to feel better.
So we got mold in the house, so I have heavy mold toxicity, and that's going to take years to get out of your system. So you take all these herbal supplements, and they make you literally feel sick because you're detoxifying, and my body can't detoxify itself enough. And the antibiotics do the same thing. They start killing Lyme, and Lyme's not like when you have Lyme a long term, it's not really curable because the doctor thinks I've had it since I was about 8 years old. So it's like spread through my whole body. But what she's trying to do is kill a lot of it with the antibiotics and keep it in remission. So basically the Lyme dies and you just get every symptom you've ever had all at once. And you literally I would spend hours in the bathtub just like trying to sweat and detoxify. I was eating lunch in the bathtub. I would just, it was like the only thing that made me feel good.
He'll text me and he's like, I'm in the bathtub right now. Like I'll do it later. Or something.
Like it's horrible. Yeah. No fun.
Basically, it
makes it very, if I didn't work that's the other thing. Thank God I work from home.
Blessed.
Because there's no way I could go to there's no way I could go to an office. I'm usually, 3:14 now? And I'm already like, can't think straight. I'm having a hard time talking.
Yeah, his energy is very limited, and
your
energy is limited depending on when you're nauseous, and then pain level as well are like
and cognition.
I'd say, are like the main things that you.
But it's a good thing. I was like I was like so happy to know.
My biggest fear was him coming home and not having answers. So
I was worried about that
as much as it like sucked to hear like he had something wrong with him or had a disease that like, okay, now we have to figure all this out. And is it ever going to go away? And I know you worry about like impacting your life expectancy and stuff like that. But I think it was like the best thing ever that he got answers, because if any of you are watching this and have things wrong with you and have been through a similar experience as Jason, like he understands you. And like, don't give up on yourself, because like he wouldn't have figured any of this out. And like, we're not through the hardest parts yet, I don't think, but I am hopeful that it will get better and we at least have answers so that we can help minimize some of like literally like annual symptoms he will get, like based on changes in temperature and sunlight. We already have so many more answers for like how to help manage some of the stuff that he deals with. It doesn't take it away from him, but at least we have answers and know how to better work with it.
Instead of just being like, oh, I'm being like a bitch.
I was like, come on, like let's go lay in the sun. And he's like, no, the sun literally makes me feel like I'm dying. And like, I didn't understand
for years.
That.
Yeah.
So like for years. I love the sunlight and I like being in the sun, and he's never been able to. You guys know we go to Florida every year, and like
it's a struggle.
Yeah, like
there's at least
small
one day I'm
doses.
in the hotel room all day long.
Yep.
Like just
every year, like you
sleeping.
need that day to like take it off. But
Yep.
you know, if you guys want a separate video, I'm sure Jason would be willing to like do a
Mm-hmm.
separate video, at least for this channel, for to kind of
Yeah, nobody
discuss
watching
what you've
mine.
gone through. But the reason why I bring it up, because it was 100% a blessing, even though it's been such a challenging year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good thing, and it's
Yeah,
super
it's
challenging.
obviously super emotional,
yeah.
but it's like a blessing.
And I feel like I've gone through it like with him too. Like it's just like sometimes it's like, how can I like help him?
I feel like we got closer.
Yeah, that was like part of like my positive from this, I would say, is like I feel like 2020 definitely brought us closer. And I feel like for any of the couples out there, it either brought you closer or you got divorced. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it was one way or the other this year because you were like locked down together. Now, Jason and I are not dependent on each other, but we just enjoy spending our time together, which is why, like, yeah, we're always together because we enjoy each other.
Yep.
And I don't know that every couple can say that, but.
I'd rather hang out with you than anyone else.
Right. Yeah, same. And Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, same Bruce Wayne.
But like a learning of him having health issues put things in perspective for me. Like, you know, you kind of just like go about life sometimes like la la la, like I'm invisible.
Nothing can happen to you. You're
and
invisible.
You just like live in this little bubble.
You're invisible.
Invincible?
Invincible.
Isn't it invisible? It's not invincible, is it?
Yeah, invisible is like it disappears. You didn't just disappear.
I thought it was invisible.
No, you're not invisible. They can see you. She thought she was invincible.
I'm confused.
Unfortunately, we aren't.
All right, untouchable. Is that
Okay.
I'll say that because I know that.
I like that one.
applies.
That one works.
But like, you know, and then like something like this happens, and you're like, no, you're not untouchable. No one is. Like, this is life, and how are you going to handle it? So as a couple, like being prepared on how to handle it, you know, and be there for the other person and get through it together. Like communication has had to be increased this year, especially on your part. I'm like, dude,
You
just
see it,
tell
though.
me what's going
You
on.
see it.
Yeah, like no, and you've been better with communicating it with me.
It's easy to
anyways.
see too, because sometimes I just literally look like death.
I know.
I look horrible.
Or like when you get a little edgy at me, I know it's not like that I did something wrong. It's that you're having an extra tough morning. Like I've learned that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I won't like say something to you about it,
yeah.
but like I've learned that like, okay, he's probably either experiencing more pain or he's not feeling well or he's frustrated. And you know, when you're in a marriage, sometimes you just,
Suck it up.
yep, and that's how it goes.
Suck it up, buttercup.
But in a way, it's been a blessing because it has brought us closer together and made us kind of like appreciate
Each other.
more and love on each other more too.
For sure. For sure.
So that's been good.
You've been a great wife.
Oh, thanks, baby. You've been an amazing husband. Like, I always feel so bad because even when he's struggling, he's like still trying to take care of me, you know?
I do actually.
You're like, I'm feeling good right now. So what can I do for you? You're like, what can I get ready
you
for
dinners.
you? What can I help for, you know?
Get all your meals ready in the morning.
Yeah, that's when I like that he works from home. He'll like help me get ready for work in the
More-
morning and like, you want a shake? And I'm like, yeah, baby, make me a shake.
I have a good few hours in me usually. I
Yeah.
usually don't wake up feeling good, but I can kind of start to feel okay for a few hours and it's like I'm done.
I know. But I don't ever like to take advantage of it though, where it like bogs you down.
No, but that's another reason I'm like, let's go. Let's get up. Let's go. Can't sit around. I only have...
Yeah.
I'm like an old cell phone. You know those cell phones that you've had for 5 years and you charge them up and they're like, wow, this battery works. And then 20 minutes later, it's at like 20%. You're like, I just charged this. That's
Drops real quick.
basically me.
We're working.
I'm
We're
an old
working on
cell
recharging your batteries though, or updating them. I should say. I don't know.
We turned a lot of negatives of 2020 into positives.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I guess the other positive is that, like, just in general, like, our families have stayed healthy through this. I mean, neither of us have grandparents anymore. I feel sad for people that had grandparents in nursing homes during this. But, like, for right now, like, it's just our parents and our families and stuff, but everyone stayed healthy. So I'm really
happy for that.
Happy for that, but I do miss seeing my family and your family because we only see them a few times a year anyways. And then, like, having to worry if you're going to potentially get them sick sucks. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So
Can't stay in hiding forever.
Nope.
No way to live.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing some of Jason and I's takeaways from 2020. Not everything was great, but we tried to take a positive spin on most of it. And
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
Because there's always going to be bad. There's always going to be good.
Yeah. And like just be, going into 2021, that doesn't even sound right. Like the world's not going to automatically be different. Like let's just be realistic with that. So, don't set yourself up for false expectations with that. Like just use this past year as a teaching tool to continue to be better and adapt, and you can only control what you can control. There's a lot in this world you can't, so try not to let that overtake you as a person, and find those little positives where you can.
That's all you can do.
And be grateful for the little things. So that's it for us, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out of here, and we will catch you in 2021.